Hey y'all, it's Morgan. I'm long overdue to make a statement regarding my last incident. I wanted to collect my thoughts, seek some real guidance, and come to you with a complete thought before I did. I was made aware of the video being posted to TMZ with hardly any time to think before it was released to the public. I was asked if I wanted to apologize, and of course I did. I wrote many detailed thoughts, and only a portion of those got used, which painted me in an even more careless light. I'm here to hopefully show you that that's not the truth. The video you saw was me on hour 72 of 72 of a bender, and that's not something I'm proud of either. Obviously, the natural thing to do is to apologize further and just continue to apologize, but because you got caught, and that's not what I wanted to do. I let so many people down, and who mean a lot to me and who have given so much to me, and it's just not fair. I let my parents down, and they're the furthest thing from the person in that video. I let my son down, and I'm not okay with that. So this week I've been waiting to say anything further until I got the chance to apologize to those closest to me that I knew I personally hurt. I also accepted some invitations from some amazing black organizations, some executives and leaders to engage in some very real and honest conversations. I'll admit to you, I was pretty nervous to accept those invitations. The very people I hurt, and they had every right to step on my neck while I was down, to not show me any grace, but they did the exact opposite. They offered me grace, and they also paired that with an offer to learn and to grow. And I'll be honest, that kindness really inspired me to dig deeper on how to do something about this. And one thing I've learned already is I'm specifically sorry for is that it matters. My words matter. A word can truly hurt a person, and at my core, that's not what I'm okay with. This week I heard firsthand some personal stories from black people that honestly shook me. And I know what I'm going through this week doesn't even compare to some of the trials I heard about from them. I came away from those discussions with a deep appreciation for them and a clearer understanding of the weight of my words. I wish the circumstances were different for me to learn these things, but I'm also glad it started the process for me to do so. I've got many more things to learn, but I already know that I don't want to add to any division. This week was a big lesson that sometimes we can do just that without even knowing it. Our actions matter, our words matter, and I just want to encourage anyone watching to please learn from my mistake. There's no reason to downplay what I did. It matters, and please know I'm carefully choosing my next steps in repair. I want to end this update hopefully on a more positive note. Since that video was taken, I've been sober for 9 days. It's not all that long of a time, but it's enough to know the man in that video is not the man that I'm trying to be. I've had this week to think about times when I'm sober, and I'm really proud of who I am and my actions for the most part in those moments. When I look on the times that I'm not, it seems to be where the majority of my mistakes are made. So I decided to go off the grid for a little while and get used to making good decisions. I want my team, my family, my friends, and even strangers to trust me. Hell, I want to trust me. Who knows if I'll be able to live down all the mistakes I've made, but I'm certainly going to try. I'm going to spend some time taking back controls of my habit, living healthy, and being proud of my actions. And lastly, I have one favor to ask. I appreciate those who still see something in me and have defended me, but for today, please don't. I was wrong. It's on me. Take ownership for this, and I fully accept any penalties I'm facing. The timing of my return is solely upon me and the work I put in. I still had a lot of really good people in my corner trying to help me, and I appreciate them more than you know. I appreciate you more than you know. This entire situation is ugly right now, but I'll keep searching for ways to become the example instead of being made one. In closing, I'm not trying to be a holy roller or anything, but this week I remembered a passage from Paul that always stood out to me, and I'm thinking maybe a moment like this is why. In 1 Corinthians 13:11, it says, "When I was a child, I spoke like a child, thought like a child, reason like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. That's what I'm gonna be doing for the next little bit. God bless.
We got to be very, very responsible again with how we say things and what we do. And I don't want to go on this long ass tangent talking about this issue any more longer. It's just, you know, as y'all can see, as long as it took me to talk all about this, like I'm again, it's not the confliction I'm having within myself, but like I'm speaking some things that I know that needs to be stated, but I'm looking at myself as well while I'm doing this shit. And like I stated, is there certain things that I'm gonna change? Probably not. But the idea of knowing how impactful certain things can be, and that we have to all hold ourselves accountable to teach so that the next generation can be better off, that's what this shit's all about. So Morgan Wallen, we got you. We hear you, we understand you. Just don't let that shit happen again, partner.
It's the council, you bastards.
Keep it moving, though. You know, it's one thing to avoid that and see that in the society, but how we combat that is getting more diverse into these positions of political power or business structure or architecture or whatever the stronghold it is in the society. That's what we got to be up on the ball on, and that's what we about here at the council, man. Making sure y'all check in, understand the message that we giving to everybody. You know what I'm saying? All ethnicities, all races, all colors. You know what I'm saying? That we all one, we all equal, we all out here striving and moving the same way. So let's come together on one accord, break these boundaries down and learn how to come together, man, so we can get it on board and moving for a better future that we all trying to make. So, yeah, man, one thing, though, that y'all should be into, moving along into that, man, in order to create that future, you should be investing into the stock market, y'all. Y'all should be getting some information in on that right now because it's a lot of things circulating around that will help open doors for a lot of people. And I know, especially in the Black community, we always kind of subject or kind of always disregard certain things that are already established or been kind of out there just because of our background and what we kind of seen and been taught, but never really utilize the tools in order to say that, man, this probably be something that'll get us a step ahead, you know what I mean, to make change and to make diverse impact. And definitely y'all should be into the stock market, man. And for those who really don't know how to invest, where to invest and things like that, we're going to try and break it down a little bit so that way you can get it in a realm of trying to, you know what I mean, however way you want to go. But for those who don't know, man, the stock market is a cluster of buyers and sellers of stocks, which represent ownership and claims on businesses. You know what I'm saying? And it has a lengthy history, depending on which market you're looking into. But the most notable one we know that makes a lot of money and is most profitable is the one here in the United States called the New York Stock Exchange. And it was founded many years ago in 1792. You had 24 stockbrokers, who decided to make this happen on Wall Street in New York City. And they met underneath a buttonwood tree and decided that underneath this tree, we're going to make an agreement for people to more or less come together and sell their ownerships or bargain their ownerships with other people for a certain amount of money. And eventually, as that kept going on, 25 years later, they decided to finally put a name to it. And that was the New York Stock Exchange that we all know. And, as technology advanced and things, advanced in America and other places of the world, So the members in the stock exchange and the trades in the stock exchange and the motives as far as what should be in the exchangeable for ownership and things like that. So the board members, they decided to try and mess with government bonds and government stocks and bank stocks and things like that. And, you know, as other things transpired in history, as we know from wars in the United States and Civil War to World War One, you know what I mean? It just kind of goes with the tides of what's going on in the world, because certain resources and certain essentials are being used more in certain drastic times. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to war and things changing in more or less the society. But you know, one great event that happened that kind of reshaping how people manipulate their money or use their money was the crash that came in 1929 on October 23rd. It's also known as Black Tuesday, and it was the beginning of the Great Depression, where people lost a lot of money putting into certain stocks, and more or less they weren't getting the money back correctly, and people just fall through ownership. Money wasn't where people thought it was, and people started to try and pull their money away. And when, you know, people heard wind of that, more people tried to get on board. And by that time, the banks didn't have enough money to give back to the people. And so this is what caused the market to crash. And this is what caused more or less the United States economy to be screwed over for X amount of years. And, you know, seeing who's who in there, you know, eventually with Forbes and others, Morgan, Rockefellers, and you know, interest on certain metals and certain programs when it comes to expansion of America, from railroads to oil to, you know, other things like that. It just became markets and businesses that just kept opening themselves up on the market. You know, for certain people who don't know, you know, when you get the chance to either be your own individual broker or have a broker firm that you go through, understand that there's certain fees and things to pay to a broker firm off of the investments that you decide to go into. But if you're an individual broker, somebody who's doing it on their own, somebody who's taking their own money, their own time, investing, looking into which stocks are rising, constantly getting gain, meaning constantly people wanting to buy the ownership share, because each buy-in of ownership is called a share. And, you know, a certain percentage that you pay for it, and a certain percentage gives you a certain amount of money back, depending on what type of business or resource or, you know, et cetera, it is that you're investing into. And you do all your research through certain parties and programs that help you out, like E-Trade and there's Robinhood that's out there. Acorns is a sub of them, and there's a lot of Forex and trading outlets that are out there, you know, for people to go and look into, and programs to look into that help with all types of investing into stocks. And the more, you know, people get into it, the more it becomes a very serious matter, as we've seen over these last couple of weeks. Recently, people don't know, at the end of January, around January 27th, there was more or less a big uproar in the market because on a certain platform of social media or whatever photography, social gathering is, Reddit, I know it is, they were posting information about how certain stocks, and I know certain people on there were telling certain information about how people should invest into certain stocks, and they were trying to test and see if the people would make the market. And that's, more or less the question you need to ask yourself. Do the people make the market? And, that's just testing out which ones that you can see out there to invest into to find out. And the people do influence the market because Reddit, there was a Reddit article, a Reddit post that told people to go after a low, more or less, bidding or low purchase share in a company, GameStop. And with that attention on it, so many people gravitated to buying it that the stock price rose. And more people got involved, more people saw the post, and eventually got its way to Twitter and reposted around, and more people started getting involved. And it got involved so fast and so quickly that certain markets, certain apps, and certain third-party programs that provided you the opportunity to buy in a share decided to take it off. One most notably is Robinhood, and according to their laws, regulations, and rights and terms, they're not supposed to do that, without allowing people a head notice or giving them that. And then on top of that, they're not supposed to do that without, giving them their money or producing or giving their money to them the right way. So it kind of froze up a lot of people's investments a lot of time, and it caused a serious uproar in America. And I know quite a lot of people who were on that more or less trading side and found out about it, and it would cause a serious ruckus in the stock market. But it helped out, those who were looking for not the attention, but the increase of stocks in their pricing. So it kind of seemed like it was a win-win situation, but real life, it could have been a very scary, situation had it went the other way, as we've known before in history. But people, you should get involved into it because there's certain resources like energy, materials and elements and things like that that can't be touched or can't be, manipulated in any way to not give you what your investment should be seeking in a good profit. So definitely something to look forward to, y'all. Y'all should definitely get in the investment game. Stocks, bonds, trading, day trading, forex, and all of that. It's definitely something. If you have the money and the time, and you have a good establishment with you, foundation wise, you should be, learning and understanding numbers, business, equity, and ownership and partnerships and things like that. You should be learning as you get older and more mature in this time. Especially while the pandemic is going on, it's actually something that could be a source of income for you where you don't have to go outside too much or strain your mental too much, day by day. So definitely something to look forward to for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.